What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? I'm gonna need a fan out here soon. Hey, check this out. I guess today is the day for my hour-long videos, man. I've been out here outside. We watched the sun come up, and now we rocking another hour-long video, man. Diddy begs for immediate release. Just because you ask, man, fuck, this ain't funny no more, dog. I'm done with this. I want to be out. Just because you beg, dog, you don't get out of jail. You don't even get a get out of jail free card. That'd be funny if somebody in there say, "Hey, I got this get out of jail free card. You can have this, Diddy." Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out.
Me, baby, I run it. You guys, I don't know what to say, but Diddy is losing it. He's melting down.
Yep.
And you know what? We love to see it. We love to see it, but can we just literally talk about the way Diddy is demanding immediate release? And I mean immediate release from jail. You guys, we have so much to talk about. Diddy's ego is just taking a beating. Now, when we last left our beleaguered heroine, when we last left Diddy, what was he doing, right? He was playing in everybody's space. He was, oh, hey, what's up, Cloud 9931? You said, oh my gosh, here we go again with the CRT system. Exactly, Cloud. Exactly. Did y'all know that Pantene's color of the year is Cloud Dancer? Really? The color of the year is white. Y'all ain't slick. Anyway, right? Good luck to the retail sales, because who in this economy has money to be buying white couches, white clothes, white shoes? Baby, you got to have money to buy all white stuff. You have to have separate living rooms. You have to have things that can't be lived in. Good luck in this economy, talking about the all trying to be slick. The color of the year is white. We're going to call it Cloud Dancer. Okay, Pantone. Anyway, listen. So here's what the streets are saying. They are saying Diddy is sitting in jail, right? Sitting in jail, fuming. And when I say fuming, I mean he is fuming. First of all, the first thing that has him upset, for one, that little lawsuit he was promising Netflix, yeah, it's not coming. It's not coming. It is not coming. Do you know why? Because Netflix has dotted their I's, crossed their T's. I know y'all thought I was going to say that wrong. Dotted their I's, crossed their T's, did every single thing they could. And Diddy doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. On top of that, he can talk trash about 50 Cent all he wants. He was planning on his kids being able to get sponsorships and make money. Unfortunately, that's not happening. Why? Well, not because of anything that 50 did. Not because of it. No. Because of his own words, his own actions. What were his own words and his own actions? Not paying the videographer, just like he didn't want to pay Little Rod, just like he didn't want to pay Cassie, just like he didn't want to pay anyone. His own actions of being so thinking he runs shit and he can use and abuse everybody, both personally and professionally. He hired a videographer, didn't put them under the contract. The footage got sold. And it is what it is, okay? But through Diddy's own actions of being his own cheap self that got him in this place, because you should have just settled with Cassie. But no, what did you do? You thought you were holding all the keys. You went behind Cassie's back, right? You sold. You literally gave all your old bad boy artists, yo, y'all want your royalties? You made everybody you could, paying them off, signing NDAs, do what you thought you had stored up everything. And then when Cassie was like, yo, I'm going to write a book and tell everybody what you did to me, Diddy came like, oh, are you? Do what you want. And shouted her out at the BET Awards when we all know what she's accusing this man of doing. And it angered Cassie so much that she went to the Southern District of New York and said, yeah, I want to file charges. Everybody said, if he did something, go to the police. How come you report it? Cassie said, good idea. And she went and reported it, right? But why was this all Diddy's stupidity? Because if Diddy had not played around in Cassie's face, if he had given her even an ounce of dignity and just settled with her and let her go on about her life, but he didn't, because he likes to be cruel and he likes to crush. And because of that, he lost everything. I hope that little one-off you got to Cassie was worth it, because you lost everything. Everybody sees who you are. All right. So what's this got to do with the new mess? Well, Diddy is said to be going after Judge Aaron's reputation, and he's doing it in appeals court. And he's sitting in jail right now, mad. He can't sue Netflix. Cassie is literally, I hope she's burning his money or giving it away to charity, right? Because we know Diddy never did, or at least that's what I think. He's sitting in jail mad, people are saying. And remember when I told you guys in jail, people were giving Diddy respect because they think he's still Diddy. They think he got connections. They think he's still got access to that money. So people are kissing his butt. And a lot of people that wouldn't mind putting belt to ass when it can, not in the way that Diddy likes, that they wouldn't mind putting belt to ass when it comes to Diddy. They're holding off because they're like, well, he's paying us off. You know, he's putting money on our books. He's giving money to our family. All right, we're going to let this little ninja go, right? But all of it depends on him being big dog and still running stuff. So keep in mind when he says something from stuff from jail, people are saying that he's doing it. So the people at jail don't start looking at him like food. Because at the end of the day, who cares if he was on Making on the Bad? That's on the fanned out jurors, not the people in prison, right? So anyway, hold on one second. Let's see. Hold one second. Y'all know I was going to order, I'm on my fitness journey, and I was going to order something healthy. And I ordered it on DoorDash. And DoorDash literally waited 30 minutes to cancel my order and say the restaurant wasn't open. And then had the nerve to be like, do you want a credit? Or like, do you want a refund? If you don't give me my money back. But I was ordering something healthy. I was ordering ceviche. I probably would have let it sit there because shrimp and lemon juice, it sounds good in theory. But after I eat it, I'm like, ugh, are there any like pantacones? What do they call the planktons? I'm like, is there any chips or something to like cover up the taste? A shrimp cooked in lime juice. I know some people love ceviche. Yeah, in theory. Anyway, let me get on point. Okay. So anyway, they said Diddy is putting on a show. But not only that, he is spiraling. And by putting this in all the
Oh, what happened? What happened? Oh man, her video go out, or that's me?
I'm coming right back in. What?
Okay. Wait a minute, y'all.
If you can hear me. Am I still
Okay.
frozen?
She
Can you
was.
guys hear
so-
me?
I thought it was me.
Put
I
a
said,
one
what
in the
happened?
comments if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? This is YouTube's fault at this point, not mine. This is YouTube's fault. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Where are we at? Can you see me? Can you see me? Can anybody hear me? Okay, I think I'm back. All right. I had to switch to a regular microphone. YouTube is tripped here. Okay, you guys can hear me? Okay. All right. Okay. So anyway, where was I? I had to switch because YouTube is tripping. No more mini microphone. I had to get on the regular one. Okay. So anyway, they said that Diddy is literally right now in jail hot. He put this out because he needs to change the narrative. What's the narrative he needs to change? Well, the narrative that the 50 Cent documentary put out, it wasn't a narrative. They just showed people evidence that he is the devil incarnate. And Diddy doesn't really like the fact that he is the devil incarnate. Oh, well, too bad. Outta, this, that, and the third. Okay, so when it comes to that, he is sitting there in his jail cell, hot. He is demanding immediate release right now. And he is letting us know that Judge Aaron is a horrible, horrible human. And he is going out of his way to destroy Judge Aaron's reputation. Now, the funny thing about this is, before we get into this, and I find a lot of this very funny. One, that Diddy still thinks that he holds any type of power. Two, that Diddy thinks that his little every step I take, that's another thing. Everybody said Diddy's a horrible dancer on top of everything. He thinks that for whatever reason, his fame and clout and what he says can go against a federal judge who clerked for Supreme Court justices. Diddy, if you don't get your Christians narrow. Diddy, if you don't get your Bill Cosby shaped butt out of here. So anyway, let's get to the story. And then I'm going to tell you what the legal experts are saying about how Diddy is playing this all wrong. And his ego is going to be the thing that makes the appeals court reject it. Okay. And he's barking up the wrong tree by even trying to discredit a judge. Okay. So first, let me tell you forget about what the streets are saying, what was actually reported. And what was reported, hold on, let me pull the article up. What was reported was even worse than anybody ever thought, okay? Where is hold on really quick, guys. Okay, I'm back. Shut up, it's Christmas Eve, I'm falling apart. I even tried to do a special makeup look for you guys, and then I got bored halfway through. Actually, I got distracted and literally was trying to send to my girlfriend a TikTok on how to make spicy tuna bites on crispy rice, how to make that in a waffle maker. Let's open this. Okay. So Diddy's lawyer files an appeal arguing his sentence was unjust. Keep in mind that as much stuff as he talked about, he's been very, 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 very silent about what actually happened. He's been very, very silent about what actually happened between Netflix and that lawsuit he was promising. There's no lawsuit. So Misa, the family, his mama, everybody just made a fool of themselves, literally bringing more attention to the documentary. And now, like, you just made more people go watch it. Anyway, they said, did his lawyer say that a judge issued an excessively steep sentence for prostitution offenses after Diddy was acquitted on more serious charges? This is by Julia Jacobs and Ben Cesario in the New York Times. They said lawyers for the music mogul Sean Combs on Tuesday appealed his conviction and sentencing on prostitution-related charges, saying that the sexual encounters at the heart of the case were consensual and that the trial judge handed down an improperly steep sentence. First of all, you're trying to retrial facts. The jury didn't rule. Here's the thing when it comes to law. The inclusion of one thing is not exclusion of the other, and vice versa. Because the jury said it wasn't sex trafficking and it wasn't RICO, that doesn't mean that it wasn't consensual. Because like the fanned out jury said, he wasn't on trial for domestic abuse. He wasn't on trial for rape. He was on trial for sex trafficking. You see what I'm saying? Anyway. And a federal trial
he was found guilty. That's the part I don't understand. Whatever he was on trial for, some of the things he was found not guilty, some of the things he was found guilty. So if you was found guilty, you got to do the time, bruh. I don't understand why people don't understand that part.
The jury acquitted Diddy of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges, which carries the possibility of life in prison. In October, he was sentenced to 50 months or a little more than 4 years and transferred from the MDC, where he'd been held since September 24th, to Fort Dix. You know, he got excited when he heard that. In an 84-page appeal brief. Now, keep in mind,
you're not right for that
one. 84 pages is actually very, very important. Do you know why? Because they charging him per page. Diddy's savings account. You can literally see, okay, 84 a page appeal brief. You did not need 84 pages, but I know they charged them for that. And baby, we love to see it. And the 84 page, trying to get comfortable. Hold on. Those are my tarot cards. Y'all know I used to do tarot. I still do. Maybe for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, if you guys want, I can have a special live where I do a call-in and we do readings. If you guys want. Yes, I still do tarot cards. I'm actually surprisingly good at it too. I'm very, very accurate. I'm just saying, for those of y'all that will with me from the beginning, you know I'm actually scary accurate when it comes to my tarot. Anyway, in the 84-page appeal brief filed with the U.S. Court of Appeals in the Second Circuit in Manhattan, Diddy's lawyers depicted the case as an unjust prosecution of sex between consenting adults. In sentencing, Diddy, his lawyers argued the judge unfairly relied on his own determinations that the women had been coerced, exploited, and forced into the sexual encounters when the jury made no such finding. He sits in prison today, serving a 50-month sentence because the district judge acted as the 13th juror. Now, legal professionals had commented on this and maybe they were rolling in their graves. But before I get to what they're saying, how can you say that he was acting like the 13th juror? Was he a fanned out groupie, giggling that the person they watched making of the grand was nodding and he was nodding? We think alike, like, yeah, you know, like, yeah. Like, he would look at me. He'd look at me and be like, you believe this? And I'd be like, I don't. And I remember he was like nodding. Were you a fanned out groupie? In my opinion, right? Talking about how can she just was like too emotional. Like, how can you be emotional about a man that ruined your life, kidnapped you at gunpoint 20 years ago, and then viciously beat you and dog walked you because you didn't offer Cassie up on a plate to him to beat her up because Cassie was talking to Cuddy? Why would anybody be in tears about that? And remember when she said, it seems odd that she would remember something so long ago, but yet Miss Groupie Ponytail, if you guys watch my lives, you know I was always talking about Ponytail in the jury box because she was doing a lot, right? She would even, when the prosecution was talking, she'd even be like this, mean mugging them so Diddy could see. And when Diddy would start nodding, she would be smiling away at him, giggling at Mark Agnafilio's jokes, having a good old time. Did he pick you? Did he call you? Did the family reach out to you and say thank you? Did you get any money in your account? No, that ponytail is still intact. Anyway, right? I mean, did he act like a fanned out groupie? Did he? That said, how can you remember being beat up? But then you remember the way he looked when he was nodding or making on the band? You know, I wasn't a fan of Diddy. I was just a fan of everything he created and touched. And I remember every moment on TV, right? So there was that. How can he be a 13th juror? Was he like that East Indian uncle that is being eaten up right now by East Asian TikTok? Abusive, talking abusive spouting to the core, right? That's what she did. It's like when your wife wants you to go to a wedding, it's the same thing as somebody making you do a freak off. You had to do what he said, dress what. Listen, was he? And the East Asian girlies are eating that uncle up, talking about this is what is wrong with our community while domestic violence is so normalized because of this backwards way of thinking. And he was proud of doing it, right? So how was he, Judge Aaron, acting like a 13th juror? I just want to know. He wasn't acting like a closeted domestic abuser. He wasn't acting like a fanned out groupie that still ain't get picked. Right? Your claim to fame is you let the devil out on the street. And that girl's probably and both of them are probably watching a Diddy documentary, probably writing Netflix. This is wrong. Anyway, right? Let me get back on point. Hold on. 84 pages. I hope they run. You know, the one thing I do hope, I hope they run Diddy's pockets so that he stays broke for the rest of his life. I really honestly do. Let me just get to the super chats really quick. What's up? Emmy Nash, thank you for being a member for 15 months. You said Diddy is so irritating. Yes, Ninja. Sit your ninja butt down. Happy holidays to my favorite and most. Oh, thank you, Trishawn. We've been rocking for a minute. Much love to you too, Trishawn. Yes, everything is going as good as could be expected. I hope you have a super, super lovely and happy holidays. Also, Carrie Johnson, welcome back into the Title Tales family. B. Crumbs, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. Oh my God, choose Joy Carlotta. Look at y'all gifted. thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And Miss Gemini, welcome back into the fold. And thank you for being a member for 25 months. You said yes to tarot, my gossip oracle. Oh, thank you. You know what? I might actually do on January 1st, New Year's Eve readings. Because I actually, on New Year's Day, I'm going to do like my top predictions for 2026 of what gossip stories are going to come out and where some other stories are going to actually end. Okay, so let me get back on point, okay? I'm having too much fun. They said during the 8-week trial, 2 of his former girlfriends testified they've been repeatedly engaged in drug-fueled nights of sex with men hired through online escort services because they felt pressured to participate and feared retaliation. They actually said that it was coercion. They said it was free golf. You know what the funny thing is also? I think why a lot of people didn't believe Cassie or Jane Doe or anybody, and just hear me out. I think it's because we have been overrun with corn. I do. When you look at OnlyFans, when you look at Pornhub, when you look at all these places, it has almost been normalized seeing, oh my God, Louis, Spiritual Tarot said, I sent you a message. It's on IG with some information. Thank you, Louis. I'll get to that as soon as I am done with this live. Thank you so much for the super chat. But here's my whole thing. Just follow me on this. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but it needs to be said. I honestly think that there is a corn problem, not just in America, but throughout the world. They use corn as the ultimate control for people's minds. Most men engage in corn, but I do think it is like mind control. But hear me out, right? I think because the corn shows women being beaten, gagged, like tied up, beat, all this stuff, and then being like panting like dogs, wanting it more. I think that men are comfortable with the fantasy that women enjoy at large, enjoy being humiliated, enjoy being degraded, enjoy being beat up, enjoy being slapped around. Like women enjoy that, right? Because that's what it is. When you look at all that corn that's out there, there's like no real sweet, loving stuff anymore. It literally is all people being beaten, this, that, people that, and you know, they literally, I think Pornhub, if it's not Pornhub, it's one of them, had to pay like so much money because they found out that like 50 to 60% of all this fetish stuff were sex trafficking victims. So I think men see, oh no, she liked it. What woman wouldn't like it? She was all over it. And then they start to think that the average woman likes that too. Now, I'm not saying you can't have your niche, but if you watch the way that corn as a whole is going, it's not like the bomb chicka bong bomb. Hi, delivery. Who ordered a fresh pizza? You know, let me spread my wallet open. It's not any of like that, if you want to call it playful corn of the 70s and 80s. What is now is like hardcore, very degrading, very brutal, very violent. And at the end of it, they always have the same thing. The girl begging for more. But at the end of the day, they've now come to see that most of the corn you see now is sex trafficking victims. And there are girls literally being held with their lives or everything over them, why they are degraded. And I do honestly think that because a lot of people see that, men and women, it starts to normalize that no, being degraded like that and brutalized and choke it. No, that's normal. People are into it. Don't you know? You see what I'm saying? Anyway, it's Mr. Cat Lady, or is it Miss? It's Mr. Cat Lady. Welcome to, thank you so much for the super chat. I very, very, very much appreciate it. And also Nest Dog said, to be fair, I believe it was just 2 jurors, like 10 out of 212 did believe the Fed's case 100%. Merry Christmas to you. Nest Dog, Merry Christmas to you, Mama. Or sir, as it is. Let me just say this. I was in the courtroom and it wasn't just 2 jurors. I was in the courtroom, and it wasn't just two jurors. You know, why Mark Agnifilo was giving one of the most sexist, disgusting closing arguments I've ever seen. There was one guy, he was the one that when they kicked one juror off, he became like a new juror. He was sitting there like, literally, I'm not lying, laughing at all of Mark Agnifilio's things about Cassie being fanned out. Cassie being, she was buck wild. She like taking two, like, and he was sitting there laughing. He was laughing. Ponytail had the two jurors in the front. I did a live about this, but now I can speak about it. Had the two jurors in the front. It was she was either black or Afro Latino, and the guy that got kicked out, black or, they were looking at her, and Ponytail was like, and then every time something would happen, they would look at Ponytail like, do you see that? Ponytail was the one that had the strongest personality, and all the jurors were like, whatever. But it wasn't just Ponytail. It wasn't at all, at all, at all, at all. It wasn't. And that is what it is. So to think it was just two jurors, because if it was just two jurors, it would have been a deadlock. They were unanimous. They were united. Anyway, at least that's what I saw, right? So anyway, let's get back into this thing. Okay, so they also said that, let me get through this story, and then I'm gonna tell you what the legal people are saying, because it really cracked me up. Okay. Diddy, who did not testify at the trial, has long maintained that the Smex issue in the case was entirely consensual. In the appeal brief, his lawyers argued that the jury endorsed that argument when they rejected Smex trafficking charges, which focused on Smex acts that were induced by force, fraud, or coercion, yet convicted him on prostitution counts, okay? The appeal by Diddy's lawyer also asked the appellate court to scrutinize the prosecution's application of the Mann Act, which makes it a federal offense to transport people across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. Now, again, this is Diddy trying to force us to act like prostitution is no big deal. The same way, I don't care what y'all say, Carisha Roulette was Diddy and Young Miami's attempt to make freak-offs mainstream. Because when you look at Carisha Roulette, you got to get drunk. You got to get high. You got to do this. You got to do all this freaky mess and answer all these freaky questions. What was it but grooming for freak-offs? And the thing is, if people were consensual, then have the freak-offs. The only problem with Diddy is there weren't that many consensual. And Young Miami said she wasn't even involved in freak-offs. So it is what it is. I mean, that's what she says. Also, what's up, Arisha Brown, 6701? Thank you for being a member for 24 months. She said, hey, lady, it's my 2-year anniversary as a member. I know that's right. I know that's right. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I've been on YouTube since 2022. I popped on the screen, and now we are going into 2024. April 14th, 2022 is when I dropped my first video, and the rest is, well, here we are. The rest is history. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me just get back into this, right? Saying that Diddy was paying for a voyeuristic experience rather than engaging in prostitution, Diddy's lawyers argued the law should be limited to situations in which a paying customer engages in sex. So there's no such thing as prostitution anymore. Anyway, prosecutors have contended that Diddy's lawyers have long sought to minimize serious Mann Act violations, arguing that they were repeated offenses over a period of 15 years and had devastating psychological effects on the women involved. They said the defense has tried to turn this into a technical violation, just a minor consequence of sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle. Christy Slavic said, this is a gross mischaracterization of the conduct. Diddy's lawyers also argued that the encounters were protected by the First Amendment because they were often filmed, asserting they amounted to highly choreographed performances involving costumes, lighting, and other stage effects. Yo, did you see one of Diddy's hookers go on Vlad TV and say that he's only, as long as this is him. So remember when people used to call him Tootsie Roll and Nancy Grace called him Tootsie Roll? A Tootsie Roll is about the size of my finger. Maybe that's what Diddy, I mean, I wonder if that was caught on tape. They said let me move on. Anyway, right. They said in handing down the sentence, Judge Subramanian said he had the legal authority to take into account any conduct that was relevant to Diddy's convictions, including the evidence of what he describes as physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. Judge Arun said a substantial sentence must be given to send a message to abusers and victims alike that exploitation and violence against women is met with real accountability. Diddy's appeal is being led by Alejandro Shapiro. Among Shapiro's recent appeal cases are those of the cryptocurrency executive Sam Bankman-Fried and Bill Hong, a hedge fund founder who last year was sentenced to 18 years in prison for fraud and racketeering. Listen, the appeal will take months for the court to consider. Diddy has entered his drug abuse rehabilitation program. It has not been successful because that fool was getting drunk early on, which is a potential to shorten his sentence significantly. Bureau of Prison Records estimate that Diddy will be released. It was originally May 4th, then it got extended, or May 8th, then it got extended to June 8th, and then they moved it back to the 28th of May, but his sentence was still extended. Okay, so that's what Diddy's saying, right? Oh, thank you, Molly Hall. Molly Hall said, love you, Tess. Thank you so much. I love you too, Molly. Okay, so that's what's being said right now. Now, let me tell you what the legal experts are saying and the way that people are saying that when you read the 86-page appeal brief, they are trying to go to the heart and damage Judge Arun's reputation in a misguided attempt to actually sway the appeals court. The only problem is people are saying that Diddy still, here's the thing. I don't understand. You can run a con on anybody once, anybody. But once we see you run the play, you cannot run a second play. He is now trying to run the same play he did on Judge Arun on the appeal court. Don't believe your lying eyes. He didn't know what he was doing. He had no right. How dare you? The only problem is, the legal people are up in arms and they are saying that Diddy has finally gone too far. And they are saying it is almost a 100% chance that his appeal will be rejected. Now, oddly enough, do you know what's also happening in the Southern District of New York in the same courtroom? And I think this is why Diddy is trying to change the subject. So in the Southern District of New York, I believe it's either January 12th or January 16th, 19th, one of those. I'm going to try to cover the case. Diddy's daddy, right? L.A. Reid is going on trial for his own Diddy-like ish. That whole network, and L.A. Reid was the one that put Diddy on. L.A. Reid was the one that gave Usher to him in Diddy's daddy's flavor camp. And what Gene Gill said, Usher was rushed to the hospital about stuff that happened to him in that camp. Usher was also the one that gave L.A. Reid Justin Bieber. And I think L.A. Reid is on record saying that he was beautiful like a woman. And they handed Bieber to Diddy's flavor camp or daddy camp or like whatever. L.A., all the ish that Diddy was
for 24 hours
all happened under L.A. Reid's spot. Remember Shakir Stewart? If you didn't, I did a deep dive about him and Chris Lively. And what happened? Shakir Stewart was viciously beaten by Diddy in the lobby of an Italian hotel, right? In the lobby of an Italian hotel and left bloody with Diddy screaming, I will kill you. I'll kill you. So much so that his mother, Shakir Stewart's mother, begged him, please leave the music industry. Shakir Stewart was dating Kim Porter, right? At that same wedding, people are saying that Kim Porter's nose got broken because Diddy was going after both of them because Kim was dating Shakira. Do you know whose wedding that was? L.A. Reid's. Do you know who put Clive Davis on? Right? Do you know who put Clive Davis on? Even when Clive Davis got kicked out of Arista Records? L.A. Reid. Do you know who put Diddy with Clive Davis and made sure they forged that? L.A. Reid. Do you know, right? Andre Hall, I believe, fired Diddy. Because even as messed up as he could have or could have not been, he looked at Diddy as a monster. It was the same as, you know how when Epstein wrote that letter saying Trump is a horrible human being, out of this and that third. He saw Diddy as like whatever. L.A. Reid is the one that brought him back in. And all of Diddy's reign of terror happened under L.A. Reid. And they were tight. I'm going to do a whole live going into this because I want to
pause. Look, they about to move my table because I'm in the sun. Let's back up a little bit. Here we go.
Him back in. And all of Diddy's reign of terror happened under L.A. Reid. And they were tight. I'm going to do a whole live going into this because I want to get into this court. It looks like, and I think this is why everybody was ganging up on 50 Cent. It's because they know that everyone's going to be held accountable for their own sins. L.A. Reid, I think he was fired in 2017 for sexual harassment, right? And he has a whole history of questionable things. L.A. Reid is now going on trial in the Southern District of New York in the same courtroom that Diddy was in, not the same judge, but the same courtroom that Diddy did, and he's going to be held accountable for his Diddy-like crimes. Let me know if y'all, I'm going to go live tomorrow and go into his lore and the way he literally is Diddy's daddy. Diddy literally got it from watching his daddy. And it's funny how that whole crew is going down right now. And they're all about to be held accountable. And I think this is going to be far reaching. And I think the Me Too movement that was thwarted, I think it's on its way to finally in hip hop, purging out the bad actors. Where's my water? Supposed to be drinking water. They're supposed to be like purging out where's my water? Purging out the bad actors. So anyway, getting back into what this is, right? Diddy is trying to run the same play. Diddy is still quietly supported by the other people that are going down, but they can't publicly support him. Oh, Molly Hall, thank you so much for another super chat, mama. Happy holidays. I appreciate all the gifts, you guys. Also, who is this? Gigi Michelle Jurgen, thank you for being a member for 3 months and happy holidays. So all that is going down right now. They're trying to, I think they have a media blockade on it. They're trying to keep it down, but it is funny to me that there is another federal lawsuit coming. It does involve Diddy's daddy, and it involves Diddy to a certain extent, okay? So when I say he's trying to normalize it, he's trying to normalize what some people say he taught, what was taught, what some people said, what was learned, and what some people. Now, before we get into what the legal experts were saying, because they are hot, they are mad. They said Diddy is literally trying to make a mockery of the whole judicial system. Just because he could get away with some fanned out jurors does not mean that judges would ever succumb to this. And even if they could, they wouldn't now. It's interesting enough, too, that Diddy is also really sad because Nicki Minaj took the place and did what Trump wanted Diddy to do. Now, it doesn't mean that Diddy would have gotten a pardon, but Trump wanted Diddy to publicly embrace him, publicly stand up for his ideals, publicly sit there and be like, whatever. And Diddy was like, I don't know about this because even after I get out, it's only a few years, but after I get out, like, how am I going to capitalize on the Black people that I find disgusting to touch and disgusting to be around, but they are my core supporters, right? And not even Black, just people. Like, if you are a fan of Diddy, I would assume you're not racist. I would assume you're not classist. I would assume you're not homophobic. I'm just saying, right? But dude, Nicki Minaj came out and did.
Real talk, man. Diddy is done. He was done way before. Imagine Diddy hit the streets and started shaking these people's hands. It could have been you. This is what people thinking. He could have been shaking my hand, putting on my jacket, put the dude jacket on, hug the guy and everything. Man, I feel I need a shower. I was amongst the people. What? That's how you feel? These are the words coming out of his mouth. This is the part that kills me. Who in the world, if you are a halfway decent business person, you ain't gonna do no business with this dude? Dude, people don't like you. They don't like your music. They don't like you dancing no more. You've washed up. You're worse than Hammer, man. MC Hammer is washed up. These people are done, finished. There's no more. They moved on to big and better things, man. So I can't wait to see him get out of jail. I'm hoping to get out of jail like in 2 weeks. No matter what, he's still done.
What was expected. Now, some people saying Nicki's doing this because she came here when she was 6 years old and she doesn't want to be deported. Some people say she's doing it because she wants a pardon for her convicted rapist husband or her convicted PDF file brother, who was raping his girlfriend's, I think, daughter from the time she was 11 to 14. And Nicki paid for his defense and came out and said that the daughter's family is going to burn in hell because they know the girl wanted it. I'm paraphrasing, right? So Nicki is doing what she needs to do to survive. A lot of people say that it's a smart move because she was left alone. And it really just made me sad because no matter what we say about Cardi B, what was her sin? Okay, fine. She called people roaches. I know, but whatever, right? Maybe she considers herself a roach too. People say that Cardi B's not black. Cardi B says she's black. She looks black to me, whatever. But also, what's Cardi B's thing? She got played by Offset for 3 years and now she's pregnant with Stefan's baby. I mean, it's her life. Nicki, on the other hand, is doing things and people are like, oh, she's doing that to protect herself and it's a smart move. And I'm like, no, I get it. She went against the most powerful man in music, which is Rock Nation, and she went against record labels. And Nicki is.
Shout out to my man Robinson. Robinson is. Shout out to Robinson, man. He in the chat room. That's my man right there. Even though I don't like snakes, I don't like snakes, but he got a snake around his. Yeah, it must be a cool snake. So now I like one snake in this whole world. Shout out to him. I like to see him in the chat room.
And I'm like, no. I get it. She went against the most powerful man in music, which is Rock Nation, and she went against record labels. And Nicki is effectively blackballed, right? And if not for the support of her largely gay fan base, maybe she would be a thing of the past. But that said, Nicki is also a legend. And that whole thing about the enemy of my enemy is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That doesn't work when you are a queen, when you have a kingdom, when you run to other kingdoms for protection. That is a position of weakness. And everybody knows from history, if you don't read history from fiction, if you don't need fiction from watching TV, that other kingdoms that try to align with more powerful kingdoms for protection, the best they can be used is as pawns. The best they can hope to be used is as pawns. But when they no longer serve the bigger kingdom scene, they are either absorbed or they are cast aside. Again, people think this is a smart move. I think it's the dumbest move ever. And it shows, it puts her in a very weak position. And it shows how desperate she is. And I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? Listen, it is what it is, right? Anyway, back to Diddy. My point of bringing up Nicki is the fact that Nicki is literally shucking and jiving, doing the thing. I mean, for God's sake, she said, our handsome, handsome president. And J.D. Vance, the assassin. I don't care what y'all say. I think that they're going to set up J.D. Vance to divorce Usha because his wife is Hindu and she's Indian. And she looks like the people they're trying to deport, and they're going to hook him up with Erica Kurt. I do. I honestly do. I honestly do. That's what I think is going to happen. Did you see the way she was rubbing her hands in his head and holding him with those tight leather pants? I said, oh, I haven't been to church in a while, but that certainly looks like the soul of a Jezebel, right? Even when they talk about the soul of a Jezebel, did you know that was actually... I know I'm about to get on Diddy, back into Diddy in a second, but let me just say this, a little side note, right? When they say that she's a Jezebel, do you know that it is misogynist, it is racist, and it's untrue? Do you know Jezebel was a very, very, very mighty queen that ruled her kingdom with both strength, fierceness, but also the compassion a woman can have? Jezebel was a mighty, mighty queen. And I'm not going to get into the whole history of it. Google it for yourself. But she was also said to be very beautiful. And they were all very attracted to her. So it's just weird that, and she was black, right? It's very, very weird to me that a mighty, mighty queen whose kingdom and army that she led held off was like gang banging in these streets. I said, gang, gang. Do you gang bang? I'll be outside. But listen, I'll be signing down bride's crest. Okay, fine. I'm from the deuce, the B, from the deuce, the B, and I'll be sliding down bros. Okay, fine. But my whole point is she was very powerful and she won many, many battles. And as a way to now demean women, especially like Black women and all women, they use that term when it actually is a term of strength, nobility, dignity. You know, it's weird. My whole point of the matter is Diddy can kiss his pardon goodbye because Nicki took his spot to do and to come out and to do whatever, to rally the communities that support her. Do you know what I'm saying? And unlike Diddy, Nicki is a musical legend. She shaped a whole generation, right? What I'm not saying anybody's a bar, but she shaped the whole her impact, right? Her impact for the generations. It's undeniable, and it's sad that she would leave her legacy on the floor like that. But desperate times call for desperate measures. She was paid $1 million for it, and I hope this just proves that you shouldn't listen to politicians. You shouldn't listen to, research what politicians say. You shouldn't listen to famous people for who they support and what they endorse, because 9 times out of 10, they have ulterior motives. They have ulterior motives for doing that. And that's no matter who. Like at the end of the day, celebrities can be bought. They get paid for endorsements. And even when they don't, they're thinking about their career and their bank account, not what's best for their people. So you can see a celebrity that looks like you, Black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian, it don't matter. They're only concerned about their bank account and finding a way to cozy up to the ruling class. You know, that's it. Anyway, at the end of the day, let me get back into the Diddy situation, okay? So anyway, let's get into this. Okay. So anyway, I reached out to a bunch of legal people, but this is what's being said on legal Twitter, legal TikTok, and everything else. I did the research, so you guys don't have to, okay? Okay, they said that the first thing, the verdict, I'm just telling you what they're saying. You can believe them or not, but they went to school. Since y'all want to see people behind with JD, MD, they went to school. Okay, they work, they're practicing. This is what they're saying. Don't get mad at me, but this is what the girls are saying on legal Twitter and legal TikTok, okay? The verdict versus the sentence, or the 13th juror argument. So the core conflict lies in a massive disconnect between the jury's decision and the judge's punishment. The jury, on July 2025, they acquitted Diddy of the most serious charges. They only convicted him of 2 counts of transporting people for prostitution, which did not legally require force, fraud, or coercion. However, Judge Subramanian gave 50 months, or a little bit over 4 years. Now, Diddy's legal team, of course, they filed the appeal, arguing that the judge defied the jury's verdict. They claim he used the evidence from the acquitted charges, the freak-offs, and allegations to physically abuse to justify a much harsher sentence than that was typical for simple prostitution-related charges, right? Now, Judge Subramanian, to their point, was very direct at sentencing. And they're now trying to use his own words as ammunition in the appeal, and they're trying to tarnish his reputation. They're saying that Judge Subramanian explicitly stated he rejected the idea that freak-offs were just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He told Diddy directly, this is in the brief, you abused the power and control that you had over the lives of women who you profess to love dearly. And even though the jury didn't find coercion beyond a reasonable doubt for the trafficking charge, the judge said he did consider the testimony of Diddy's former girlfriends who described being beaten and filmed. The girls said in court it was against their consent. Now, they said this. First of all, they said Diddy's barking up the wrong tree because appeals judges don't care about that. They said, while Diddy is making a strong, I'm just telling you what legal Twitter's saying. You can believe it or not. They said the defense is making a strong push for immediate release, but the appellate court most likely, and they're saying up to 95% is going to side with Judge Subramanian. Relevant conduct. They said in federal court, judges are allowed to consider uncharged or even acquitted conduct when sentencing, as long as they believe it happened by a preponderance of the evidence. And that's only more likely than not. Doesn't need to be 100%. It's a controversial rule, but it's the law. So when you are telling your case and the judge is sitting there and you think that you only have to worry about the jury, the judge, once the jury decides fact, what you did or not, right? The judge then goes and he can see what he thought, right? I thought this a witness was engaging. I thought that witness was right. So again, it's controversial, but it's the law that judges actually can act as a 13th juror. They can actually act as a 13th juror. Again, Diddy's trying to convince the public, how dare this judge do this? But you're talking to other judges that actually know the law. This abuse of discretion. They said this is what they're saying. Don't blame it on me. But the legal girlies are saying that's a no-go too. To win that, Diddy has to prove the judge didn't just give a tough sentence, but he made a legal error so massive it was unreasonable. They're saying that is not going to happen. Why? Because the judge could have given up to 10 years and still been in the reasonable loophole. See, a lot of people, including myself, were very confused about why he only gave him 50 months when he could have gone up to 10 years. But when you go up to 10 years, that's when the appeal court can be like, wait, was this unreasonable? Was it? I don't know, right? But when you give him even less than half of what by law,
Oh, she done went out again. She went out again.
YouTube is hating. It's 5 Title Tells gift memberships. So you guys make sure you think, okay. So getting back, right? So Judge Aaron didn't even give Diddy half of what he could have given him, because I believe Judge Aaron wanted to make sure that it was not appealable. Wanted to make sure that even the most conservative judge will say, okay, you acted within legal limits. I think that's what Judge Aaron was trying to do. They also said deference, right? And this is the big part. Again, it's not what I'm saying, it's what the legal girlies are saying. In the Southern District of New York, Second Circuit, appellate judges, and when you go on the side of appellate judges, it's not just one judge, it's about 3 judges, right? Appellate judges tend to trust that the trial judge, in this case, Judge Aaron, had the best view of witnesses and evidence. Now, I went even deeper, right? Reached out to some people, went deep into the threads. Let's get into this, right? The relevant conduct loophole, right? Here's the trap. In federal court, there's a concept called relevant conduct. Even if a jury says not guilty on a specific charge, a judge can still consider the facts of that conduct during sentencing if the judge believes it happened by a preponderance of the evidence. A much lower bar than beyond reasonable doubt. Sorry, it sounded like it was a gun shooting. I was like, on Christmas? Y'all shooting the club up on Christmas? Okay. Also, they said Now, legal scholars, experts, and lawyers that have argued in front of appellate case will point out that while the U.S. Sentencing Commission recently tried to limit the use of acquitted conduct, that was effective November 2024, judges, and this is what Diddy's team is arguing, well, in 2024, there was a new law that limited. However, they said even outside of that, judges still have massive leeway to look at the nature and circumstances of the offenses. If Judge Subramanian framed the 50-month sentence as necessary because of the history and characteristics of the defendant, which Mark Agnifilio admitted to in court and Diddy admitted to in court, the appeals court will likely let it stand. Now, you guys also have to remember something important about appeals courts. What the legal girlies are saying, don't come at me. Appeals court also, they don't like to go out on a ledge. Meaning, if a judge says somebody is dangerous and they are violent, and yeah, you hired hookers, but you're Hannibal Lecter hiring hookers, not Clark Kent. Right? Clark Kent hiring hookers. Yeah, you shouldn't have did it, but all right, go on. Like, let's just go. Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs hiring hookers. Yeah, no. Throw that mofo in jail. That's basically what Judge Subramanian said. And the one thing that Diddy's team knows that they're not telling Diddy, because with that 84-page thing, I'm guessing that they are, with that 84-page complaint, I am guessing that they are charging him up and they want some more of his money before all those civil trials eat it up, right? You can't say, they're telling Diddy, oh, he has no right to do that. It is 100% within his law to do that. They admitted to it in court. They said all this stuff. They laughed about it. Mark Agnifilio called it a modern-day love story. Judge Aaron said, no, it's abuse. And Diddy's team doesn't want to let him know that the one thing that probably got you off with the jury is what's going to make this conviction stick. But it is what it is, right? Again, last thing with the appeals court, they don't like to go on a ledge. So if the judge says, yo, this mofo is violent, he's Hannibal Lecter. He needs extra time. I know we let everybody else do probation, but he needs to be in jail because he is a danger. Everybody's afraid of him. If they let Diddy out and Diddy does something stupid, Diddy hurts somebody, or there's another woman that comes in 3 months later or 3 years later and says that Diddy did to her what he did to Cassie and Jane Doe, right? And beat them. That tarnishes the judge's history. That makes the judge on appellate look like they made the wrong call. And judges don't like making the wrong call. So they are very, very conservative, which is why this documentary is so damaging to Diddy's appeal chances. Because it shows a complete picture of who he is. And what judge, unless they're a super fan, is going to take the chance of letting this man out for him to do the same thing again? Because it makes them look stupid. It makes them look bad. It's actually very, very embarrassing for judges. And the rulings are like, you don't even know how to rule, right? And if they let them out and he embarrasses them, right? Now the appellate court put people in danger. Now the appellate court put people in danger. Now the appellate court put people in harm's way. And for what? To go against a judge that made a very conservative ruling well within his right? Why would they go against a trial judge? Diddy is not adding this up and he's not thinking, but they say Diddy right now is on an ego trip and he doesn't want to do this. Again, he did the impossible before with the RICO, but you're not going against 12 people that don't know the law, can't read, and half of them are fanned out. You're going against judges that know the law like the back of their teeth. They know the law. They know what you can do. They know what you can't do. All this,
the back of their teeth.
Every step I take, all that stuff is not going to work. You're talking to people that they do this for a living. They also talk about
I don't think people know the back of their teeth that well. The back of their teeth. It's hard to see the back of your teeth.
Every step I take, all that stuff is not going to work. You're talking to people that they do this for a living. They also talk about the abuse of discretion standard. They said this is the most common reason why Diddy's appeal is going to fail. On top of that, this is why most appeals fail. To win, Diddy's team doesn't just have to show the judge was mean or tough. They have to prove he committed an abuse of discretion. This is nearly impossible. This is what the legal girlies are saying. All right. This is a nearly impossible legal standard. The appeals court essentially says, as long as the judge's decision was within the realm of reason, we won't touch it. Since the sentence is 50 months, it's within the statutory maximum for the Mann Act violations, which again can be up to 10 years per count. So Judge Aaron could have given this fool 20 years and they still would have been like, that's still reasonable under the law and in the judge's power. Legal experts.
Man, they could have gave him 100 months and everything would have been okay. That's what he should have did. He should have said 100 months, not 50 months. 50. That'd have been 8 years. He would have been, yeah. He still ain't
easily argue.
He still ain't getting out to 2030. That's all I'm gonna keep saying. Watch.
And most will agree that it is mathematically reasonable to get 50 months out of maybe 20 years.
My bad. She frozen again. I'm thinking it's me because I'm over here switching gears and everything. Come on, Tisha.
Okay, I'm back. They will argue that it is reasonable, right? It is reasonable. 1 second. They will argue that it is reasonable for all this to happen. Let me get back to the point. And this is what the legal girlies are saying, right? I'm just telling y'all what I heard. It's mathematically reasonable. And all judges, including Judge Subramanian, have a limited right to be wrong. This is another thing. And unless Judge Subramanian's logic was totally incoherent, I mean, there is not one legal thing that's rational, the Second Circuit will likely defer to him, meaning they have to show, like, you know, sometimes you see judges on TikTok that somebody comes in for shoplifting and they sentence them to death. And that's what I mean. There's not even a logical thread in between the crime and the punishment. Judge Subramanian was very, very good at correcting the record. He was very, very lenient. He was very, very fair. And the sentence he gave was well within his legal right. They also talk about the 13th juror paradox. The legal girlies are saying appellate judges are historically protective of the trial judge's right to assess the credibility of the witness. Judge Subramanian is the trial judge, okay? Judge Subramanian, can we just call him Judge Aaron? Judge Aaron heard the testimony of the victims, like Jane and like Cassie, like Mia and everybody else. He stated on the record that he found their accounts of physical and emotional abuse credible. He said it on the record. So it's not like he was just sitting there passively at court and said, okay, he went on record and said what he observed, why he observed it, and that is airtight. Listen, here's another thing. The legal girls are saying that the one thing that Diddy's missing is appellate courts only read paper transcripts. And they are extremely hesitant to tell a trial judge that his vibe check of a witness is wrong. So they defer to like, okay, you gave us your reason. This is what you felt. Okay, fine. You're allowed to feel that. And Judge Subramanian also has a harmless error shield. The government will argue that even without considering the freak-offs, Diddy's crimes, transporting people for prostitution, were serious enough to justify 4 years in prison. Again, it's not what you did, it's how you did it. If the appeals court believes the sentence could have been the same regardless of error, they won't bother changing it. Again, it's very, very hard to get an appeal. Only I think about 3% of cases in the Southern District of New York are actually won on appeal. Judge Subramanian was very, very good in his ruling. Again, a lot of people were initially disappointed at that 50 month, but he was very, very good reading all the case precedent, seeing legally how far he could push without this being overturned. It's almost like he knew Diddy's team was going to try to get like this whole ruling overturned and jump over the jury. So he made sure he dotted all his I's and crossed the
that's the same thing, right? I said.
Legal girls are also argue that the legal system, the Southern District of New York, needs Diddy's case to end. Reversing a sentence for a high-profile defendant like Diddy creates procedural chaos and encourages every other inmate to challenge their judge's discretion. They also are saying that Judge Arun's history as a fair and meticulous judge gives him bulletproof status. Unless he made a blatant mathematical error in calculating the sentence guidelines, the Second Circuit Appellate Court is unlikely to overturn, slap his wrist, or in any way look at him the way Diddy's team is begging for him to be looked out. Listen, who said this? Hold on, let me read this. Trishawn said, Tisa's lives keeps freezing up. Loud noises outside and her water went missing. Exactly. Where's my water? Diddy needs to leave our girl Tisa alone. We got your back. Thank you, Trishawn. Thank you, Miss Trishawn.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm literally doing my best to be like new year, new me. I'm trying to drink 100 ounces of water a day and look at where's my water? Anyway, yeah, you guys, listen, I say all this to say that Diddy is, in deep doo-doo. Diddy ain't getting out. And the sad thing is, sad for him, happy for us. The one little shred of hope he had that this public goodwill and this social media influx of paid actors, the dirtiest of the dirtiest. Also, I have a little bit of inside info. I'm going to put this in a separate video because I know this live is getting long. I'm going to be doing a live tomorrow for Christmas too. That's my Christmas present to you guys. I'm going to work over the holidays. Seriously, work. But my whole point is that this whole thing that Diddy might have been able to get away with, because I don't think the legal system knew how he was being so dirty, so manipulative, so all that. These are Diddy's own words. I believe that documentary completely destroyed, and he can't sue Netflix, completely destroyed his chance at getting an appeal. Because on top of Judge Arun being fair, on top of him being just, on top of him delivering the harshest sentence he could within reason, right? And making his case bulletproof, his reputation is bulletproof. On top of all that, that little scam that Diddy was running, that little scam that did it, yeah, all of that is in the gutter now. Because people see who he is, a manipulative faker. Him and his family, all those tears, everything. It was all pomp and circumstances. And on top of that, everybody in the Southern District of New York is aware of Diddy's daddy, L.A. Reid, I believe sometime in early January, I want to say 16th or 19th, is going to be in federal court answering for Diddy-like crimes. The whole system is going down and people pay attention to that. So basically, yeah, Diddy got what he asked for. It's like my dad used to always say, yeah, you got what you asked for, but not what you wanted. You got what you asked for, but not what you wanted. So at the end of the day, we can all laugh at Diddy. He is going to stay in jail. Nicki Minaj took his spot to be she's more popular, has more respect, and she'll get up there because she's a free woman. She'll get up on stage and make a fool of herself, right? She's a free woman. Diddy can't even do that. And Diddy doesn't have any reputation and nobody respects him. And the people that will come and support Diddy don't even want to touch them. He's talking about, I need boiling hot water and peroxide. Again, people talking about Tisa Tells ain't black. Baby, I got 4 black grandparents, but you know who's very anti-black? They're Demon King Diddy because he didn't want no black people touching him, and he didn't want nobody broke or in poverty touching him, which I know makes a lot of his supporters mad because, yeah. Anyway, at the end of the day, listen, somebody said, Maria said, go live later tonight while I'm with the in-laws. Y'all want me to? I'll do that. I will do that. You can pop the AirPods in and just be like, It is what again, people, the word on the curb is Diddy is going to be faced with new charges. Word on the curb, I think that's another reason why he threatened to sue Netflix for $1 billion. He threatened all that stuff, which never came to fruition because there's no lawsuit. And as much as Misa, Janice, everybody that came out and defended Diddy, Marlon Wayne's disappointment, people you respect. And I got a lot of respect for the Wayne's family. So that was just, right? A lot of betting journalists got a lot of respect for him. It's just like, yeah, this ain't it. As much as everybody tried to go against it, there is literally no lawsuit and nobody, even they're saying, oh, I was there. Nobody's going on record. Nobody's writing anything and nobody's joining the lawsuit with their sworn statement saying this is what happened. So at the end of the day, Netflix, right? Vanessa, Alexandria, 50 Cent, they're standing on business. And everybody else is trying to, I know what happened. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Write sworn statements to Diddy so he can actually sue because you know he need the money and he need that documentary pulled down so badly. So at the end of the day, everybody that says they knew this and they knew that, y'all just talking. Y'all just being bloggers. Y'all just talking. Trishawn said, oh yeah, I forgot to mention a DoorDash order getting canceled last minute. This guy Diddy ain't learned nothing in prison. Yo, when I tell you I was hot about that DoorDash order, I finally did what I needed to do because you guys know I'm on a fitness journey. I just walked to the fridge, got some cottage cheese, threw in some vanilla extract, which it was surprisingly good, and called it a day. I am literally learning to make all these healthy recipes, but sometimes you don't want to cook all this stuff to make a low carb cheesesteak or low high protein pancake. Sometimes you're like, I just want something to eat. And that's when I was like, let me just put some vanilla in this cottage cheese. That's how much you know I've been on my fitness journey, that it did what needed to be done. It did what needed to be done, you know? And I will say one other thing, eating healthy, my bank account has never been happier. It has never been happier. Anyway, you guys, listen, let me get out of here. I'm going to post some more videos. I'm going to try to go live later on tonight. You can count on 2 lives Christmas. Let me know if you want them Christmas morning or Christmas evening, Christmas afternoon. Put a 1 if I should go live Christmas evening. Put a 2 if I should go live Christmas afternoon. I know not Christmas morning, everybody opening things. Or put a 1 and 2, put a 3 if I should go live in the afternoon and in the evening. Let me know. Can y'all put it in the chat really quick before I go? Oh yeah. Who said that? Kiss said, do you know what lawyer lawyers did the motion? Yeah, it was Alexandria Shapiro. It was Alexandria Shapiro and Driscoll. Penny said, I swear Jay-Z was feeding 50 to keep the heat off of him. I don't know about that. Miss Boss Diva, you want 3, Gigi 3. So let's see, you guys want, so 2 is in the afternoon, 1 is in the evening, and 3 is both.
They want both.
Yeah, JSS World, I heard that too. The feds are working on Puff's next charges. They'll bust out of him before his time is up where he is. I do believe that too. Trishawn, you want 3 for both? All right, mama, you treat me so well. You be feeding me lobster and pasta. I think, or is it pasta and lobster? It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, it is what it is. Well, okay, so you know what? I promise you guys, as my Christmas gift to you, because you guys always rock out for me, there will be 2 lives up tomorrow. I don't care if you guys, well, I would like you guys to join, but if you don't, catch the replay. I'll keep you entertained over the holidays. I know how it is. I'll keep y'all entertained over. And I've literally gone to war with everybody in my household for the right to work. So just know Just know I'm doing what I can do to entertain you guys. Okay, I'll definitely be Crumb. Okay. JSS World. Okay. GG. All right. Liquid Sunshine, Political Junkie. All right, Maria. All right, I got you guys 3. Thank you, Liquid Sunshine. Thank you for coming to play with me. And Penny. Oh, thank you so much, Penny. Happy holidays to everyone. Yes. Also, thank you, B Crumbs. You guys click the bell and turn on all your notifications. All right, let me get out of here. I'll drop a few more videos tonight, and tomorrow, I promise you guys 2 lives. It's going to be fun live too. I'm going to keep the whole holiday thing in between. It's going to be nice and fun. Okay. So let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I hate when I do that. Nope. Just Trishawn. And thank you everybody that donated memberships. Liquid Sunshine, thank you so much for donating 5 memberships. Also, I want to give a shout out to I Choose Joy, Carlotta. Thank you for the 5 gift memberships. And B Crumbs, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy holidays. Mwah! To everybody but Diddy. Yo, I know it feels good. That Diddy, I'm waiting for a fake story so I can tear it apart about everybody. How Diddy fed the homeless. I know Diddy is hot. He is spending Christmas in jail. And he is hot that he got to eat that food. And again, I know what y'all saying. Oh, they be making magic in the commissary. Diddy literally, according to Chef Jordan, controlled people with food. He would make sure they starved while he was eating steak and lobster and all this stuff. So,
wow,
yeah.
That's crazy.
No, he's having a miserable Christmas. And as much as he tried to act like he is chilling in jail, baby, he is miserable. And I hope that brings a little bit of justice to the victim. Shout out to Judge Aaron for standing on business and doing what needed to be done. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.
I think Diddy been in jail for over a year now. It's definitely been over a year because I remember last Thanksgiving and Christmas us talking about Diddy trying to make bail before so he can get out for the holidays. Well, you got one more holiday to go, Mr. King Combs or Christian Combs, whatever you call yourself. Talking about my daddy gonna be home. When he said that, see, what kills me is when people say what they say out of their mouth. I thought somebody was saying that until they played the clip of him opening his mouth saying that, oh, don't worry, just watch and see. Daddy gonna be home. Like he got an inside scoop on people that's lying. They are lie, and just hope their lies come true. They don't care. People don't even care about being caught in a lie, y'all. I don't want to lie. I mean, I care about being caught in that lie. That's why I don't lie. I ain't got time for no lies, man. I'd rather live the truth. Forget living a lying life. You want to live a truth. They're talking so loud. They got Courtney over there. I'm going to see Courtney. I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.